Guilty pleasure shows are seldomly talked about in anime circles, because we don't want other weebs to know how weird our weeb shit is, possibly for fear of being to nerds what nerds are to normal people. A guilty pleasure show can best be described as a show that offers up a lot of tropes that pique your interest. It starts checking off a lot of boxes on your should I watch this or should I pass list. And yeah, narratively the show might be just meh at best or just outright terrible, but it's hitting enough of your buttons that you're like, yeah, I like this show. Now imagine watching one of these guilty pleasure shows and then it actually starts to get good, like critically good. Now you can never let your friends know that you like it because they're gonna think the same thing that you thought. Oh, this is just some dumb bullshit that you liked because of X, Y, and Z. Well, Girls and Panzer is that show for me. It is a guilty pleasure that is actually pretty damn good. Girls and Panzer at first glance appears to be just some weird moe-blob show with some tanks thrown in to get the military geek's attention. But this show is actually a tournament sports anime. And if there's one thing I love in anime more than tanks, it's a goddamn tournament arc.
Tournament arc! Tournament arc! It's a fucking tournament arc! Tournament arc!
I think the original Dragon Ball is actually better than Z because of its pacing and the many tournaments in the series. My favorite saga of Yu Yu Hakusho is the Dark Tournament Saga because, well, duh. And I prefer the original Yu-Gi-Oh! To GX because of the tournaments. Hell, I don't even care about college basketball, but come March Madness, I'm filling out a goddamn bracket. As per usual for moe shows, Girls and Panzer focuses on one main and her core group of 3 to 5 friends. But the tournaments in which they compete in are on a platoon level, which means they have to go out of their way and find some new friends to enter in this tournament with. There are anywhere from 4 to 6 other tanks also involved in a given match, each with their own crew of 3 to 5 girls that all tag along as well. But unfortunately the show never goes into any depth with most of them, and that's pretty regrettable because they got some really interesting character designs. I mean, just look at the girls behind the sticks of the Stug 3. I mean, just look at them. Who are they? Where did they come from? What are they doing here? Why are they dressed like old generals and keep quoting Caesar and shit? Perhaps I'm not a big enough of a military nerd to get the joke, but hell, I kinda like that. Attack on Titan went into depth with their cast despite how massive it was, and I can rattle off over a dozen characters from that show right off the top of my head. With Girls and Panzer, not so much. I mean, hell, even Assassination Classroom had a massive cast of like 20-something characters. They all felt fleshed out. Yeah, I can't remember any of their names, but I remember, yeah, that's the edgy one. That's the dropout. These are the stoners over here. Girls and Panzer attempts to give some of their characters some actual character by putting them in these cliques, but it just doesn't take nearly as well as Ass Class did. But then again, this show isn't really about the characters. It's about the goddamn tanks and the goddamn tactics. So, in these school-sanctioned tournaments, the school ships pair off in... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, school ships. God damn it, look at these things, that's just fucking cool. That's it, I have nothing else to say on the matter other than we need a naval-based spin-off of this show immediately. So yeah, these school ships pair off in these 5v5-ish battles, with each school being populated by walking, talking stereotypes of the countries that they are supposed to represent. The British are fair and chivalrous and way too preoccupied with not spilling their tea. The Americans are loud, obnoxious assholes who cheat to win. The Russians are cold-blooded stoics who rely on home field advantage. And the Germans believe that the best tank is the Tiger tank, because the Tiger tank always wins!
No, I'm not defending German technical superiority, I'm stating the fucking obvious.
How do these tournament matches go? Well, they're actually quite entertaining. They take a number of twists and turns instead of going down the overused path of Deus Ex Machina ass pulls. MC Protag Girl and her gang of motley tankerettes win their battles via cunning strategy and deft tactical judgment. They just simply outthink their opponents, who see them as mere underdogs who have only gotten as far as they have because of a series of flukes. They even go so far as to use real tactics taken from World War II historical accounts. I like that. Good on you, show. Treat your audience like an adult, well, as much of an adult as I can be. I mean, I'm watching a show about high schoolers fighting it out in school-sanctioned tank battles, for fuck's sake. Also, they're not using paintball rounds either. This is live ammo, people. Hell, one group of girls gets hit, their tank gets knocked out, and they have to put out a fucking fire. What the hell? I don't remember my football team in high school ever having to do something that batshit crazy. Speaking of what the fuckery, why are there no males at this school? Or any of the schools? Or in the show? I mean, there's like one guy and that's it. These schools aren't explicitly girls' academies unless I just missed something. The tankery clubs are all female because the show makes at least a half-assed attempt to explain why that is. They say that girls who practice tankery grow up to be fine and desirable women, but as far as I can see, all the girls who tell their family that they're gonna join the tank club get treated like shit because of it. Random headcanon real quick. There's no males in the show because there was a great war that killed all the men and all the boys in the fighting, and then after everything died down, all the nations put aside their arms and said, we're gonna use these only for fun stuff, like school tank battles and shit. That's kind of morbid, but just went through my head real quick. As far as visuals go, the level of detail in this show is absolutely stunning. All the tanks are rendered in CG, so 3D models have to be made for each tank type, and they nailed them all dead on right down to the fucking rivets. And trust me, I know they got the tanks right because I play World of Tanks, bruh.
Got him!
On top of all of that, the show has an immense offering of tank facts and trivia that'll make World War II geeks like me salivate at the very mention of the phrase 88mm main gun.
どうやって動かせばまずイグニッション入れてこれですか
But it's gonna take more than that to impress me.
チャーチルの幅は 3.25 メートル4種取り比だから距離810メートル
With sound, the opening and ending credits are okay. The Japanese voice cast is nice, cute, and bouncy as they should be. But the English voice actresses and the dub, they just completely phone it in. It's really unfortunate because the animators and the designers obviously put a lot of hard work and effort into this project. The music, however, is on fucking point. The jaunty little military pieces that play during the battles and stuff offer a very lighthearted touch to the show, which is just perfect. Unfortunately for some, and for me too, this is shot down immediately, because the best piece of music in the whole show, Katyusha, is omitted. Originally sung by Soviet soldiers during World War II and later famously performed by the Red Army Choir, it was covered by the Japanese voice cast who sang it in fucking Russian, and the North American release apparently couldn't secure the rights to Katyusha, and they replaced it with the fucking Tetris theme. I'm shitting you not, they actually reanimated the sequence so that the characters' mouths don't move and they're just sitting there as Tetris plays in the background. All that considered, I'm willing to largely forgive this due to the sound effects they managed to put together for this show. Every tank sounds a little bit different and unique in its own right. From the initial rev of the engine to its cruising speed, each tank puts up its own chorus of diesel, oil, and steel. As a guy who grew up on racetracks in the southeast listening to hundreds of different engines rev and pitch, I can really appreciate the commitment that it takes to get that nailed down. Overall, Girls und Panzer is a fantastic little show that has an even-handed mix of historically based trivia and narrative pacing that culminates into a show that I honestly think most people are going to enjoy. Whether they be history buffs like me or just a passing anime fan looking for a short and sweet anime to grab their attention. And if you like Girls und Panzer, well, those 3 other parts I might do an anime triple play about later. Fräulein und Panzer der Filme, Fräulein und Panzer direkte Angierschlacht, and Fräulein und Panzer das OVA. I don't know how to say OVA in German. My only complaint is there hasn't been that naval spin-off show yet. Oh shit, never mind. Here we go, boys!